single men actually go to church on their own by themselves? Because people tell me all the time, you should go find a good godly man at church. Do you know how hard that is to find? I just went to church this morning, and it's a pretty good sized church. And I just decided for science to look around and just see, is there any single men by themselves? Because I never, no matter what church I go to, no matter what denomination, I almost never see single men by themselves going to church. I looked around, I counted like 15 to 20 women who looked like they were by themselves. Or there was a couple other women who looked like it was just them and one other woman. If I counted them, it was like 25 women. I saw one man who was there by himself. But that one man actually gave me hope for a few minutes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Again, not because I wanted to like meet him or talk to him, but because I was like, hey, some men do go to church like on their own. It wasn't 2 minutes later after I noticed that a woman came up and sat next to him and held his hand. I was like, just kidding. I looked around on the stage. There was multiple men up there on stage. Between the pastors and the singers, every one of them had a ring on. So you tell me, there was tons and tons of single women there. Although I don't really know their relationship status, there was tons of women there on their own. Not a single man that I could find anywhere in the audience that was by himself. Not one. Do single men go to church? I don't understand it. Help me understand.
It's funny, even when they swear that they're not looking, they just want to know that the men are there, and now the men aren't there. See, when a guy finds a good deal, he commits to that. When he finds a woman that's willing to meet him halfway, he invests in that. Women don't understand. This is what I mean. If you pay attention to the clip, she says, but I saw this one guy, then a woman sat next to him. Everybody on the stage was wearing a ring. Exactly. They got with the good women that wanted to be taken, that wanted to be kept, wanted to be a kept woman. He made an honest woman out of them. You can't relate because you've spent so much time out here. Now you're wondering, where's the time gone? Those women played their position. Another funny thing I find about this is that, women who get on with men and things work, even if they're not religious, they just follow the code and stick to the script. Man, woman, children, community. Even if they're not religious, you always see that happening in a dynamic where it's flowing with a man and a woman. She doesn't have to go to church every Sunday. She's just not a fool. Even women in the church don't understand this. And the biggest thing that guys need to pay attention to, and this is the best part of having discernment, when women run to the church, it's usually to cleanse themselves of their sins. They want to repent, and this is good. But at the same time, they want men to evaluate them the same way. That's not how it goes. Yes, we shouldn't be judgmental. We should not look down and be mean to people that we don't know. We don't know somebody else's struggle. We don't know somebody else's story. But you have to judge someone's actions and their character, especially if you're going to date them and they're going to come in your life. That's two completely different things, from being very judgmental in a negative way to having positive judgments. I assess this person's character and their performance like at a job, and I say they're a perfect fit for this job. They can bring value here. Women want you to act like, I repented and I cleansed myself of my sins. I want you to see me that way. That doesn't work with men. And that's why they run to church a lot of the times. But see, men with discernment still ain't going. They know that that's not bad judgment. That's making a good judgment. Because you can't be fooled out here. Even though a woman goes to church and you think that a woman's not like that, it's all the same hardware. Think about it. There are good guys at, Christian events, Sunday service. There's a website. There's, eHarmony, Christian Mingle. That's the one, right? There's all these different ways to meet men. They have little events. There's all ways to meet good Christian men, Catholic men, religious men. But see, at the same time, that doesn't mean that he can't check a bunch of boxes that make him attractive to her. You understand? So they're still picky. They nitpick. They still want the same things. They want a guy who's better than them. But if you're in the church, it should be judging a man's character, right? Judging how that man shows up for his community, not only himself, but for his fellow brother, for his fellow sister. They don't care about that. How's he going to show up for me, and what does he have? How tall is he? What does he look like? Let's just roll the clip.
Why are there no cute guys in the church? Is he cute? Maybe I can convince myself he's cute. Oh, of course. All the good ones got taken up. I came too late. Is it just that men of God aren't cute?
I think in the good year of our Lord of 2025, it is easy to be in a relationship. There's so many avenues to be in a relationship. But at the end of the day, when you're putting yourself first and you're putting your standards first and you have non-negotiables, you're going to wait. You're going to wait. And the wait is worth it. At the end of the day, have good men approach me? Of course. Every good man is not your man.
You have a degree, you have a good job, and you love God, but you still single. Let me break down the truth that nobody want to tell you. A lot of women says there are no good men left. They waiting on a Boaz. But it's a little deeper than that. A lot of women don't want the male version of themselves. He's on your level. A lot of women don't want the male version of themselves. When you see the male version of yourself, you realize that you probably ain't crap either. When you find the male version of yourself and you don't like it, that's probably because you got some work to do as well. A lot of women are here and expecting a man to be here.
Most women are like that. I'm not going to say all because I know it annoys certain people. Most women are like that. Do you think that most women are virgins? We've already covered that, and I've given the statistics. So no, most women have kids out of wedlock. Most women are not virgins. So when you're thinking that, women aren't like that, yes, they are like that. Women are sexual beings. Women find men attractive. They like sex just like men like sex. I need guys to understand that. You can have a woman, and you always try to make up excuses. Well, her body count's low. Well, she hasn't participated in this. Well, she hasn't done that. All of the guys were relationships. And you're making up all these excuses to run away from the fact of, women are like that. Even in the church, women are like that. And women also claim to be spiritual so they can avoid the religious side of it. So they say they believe in something, but it absolves them of their sins. And, these things were experiences that I had to go through. And women that say that they're religious, they do that to literally avoid the past as well. Guys, you gotta have discernment out here. You gotta really take the emotion out of things. See, when you take the emotion out of things, you operate black and white. That is all. There's no gray area. And most guys want to live in the gray area, and that's fine. But I'm instructing my guys that if you're staying single right now and you're a guy that goes to church, you're pretty religious, don't make moves thinking that you have to rush or be on some time clock because you want to find something great. Yes, you put in effort, you put yourself out there, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. But this is also a result of men having discernment and also staying single, because it's even affecting inside the church. Men are not going. Plenty of dudes have been taken for a ride thinking that I'm doing the good Christian thing. I'm doing the right thing. Turns out the whole time, the woman was no better than any other woman out here that wasn't religious. So I want you guys to understand that. Yes, women can be religious. Yes, they can be spiritual. Yes, they can read their Bible. Yes, all of it. The whole 9 yards. All of it. But it doesn't change the fact that women are hardwired a certain way. Don't ever run around thinking that women are special out here, because how does it go? Man, woman, children, community. It's just how it is. There's no emotion in it. Take the emotion out of it and understand. It's affecting them so much that they can't see it. They're going to keep being delusional. Whether they're out here, they're not going to church, whether they do go to church. Good men recognize good women. Straight up. If a woman has to tell you that she's so good and she does this and she goes to church and she reads her Bible and she does this, listen, you have to ask yourself, why aren't you letting me figure this out for myself?